It looks like you've had a tough battle. No worries, I think I can help you, Fry said, while transferring his magical power to the phoenix. In Isabel's eyes, this divine beast, in front of Fry, was like a tame chick. All the results of my recent training have been taken away by you. The phoenix made a few sounds, as if to express an apology. Just kidding, it's almost over. This was the first time Isabel had seen Fry with such an expression, his tone completely different from usual, and even the air around them seemed much calmer. Fry seemed to be reminded of a friend from 4,000 years ago. Why are you so weak today? It can't be because it's raining, right? You are the legendary phoenix. A little rain shouldn't make you this bad. The phoenix spread its wings, seemingly venting its dissatisfaction. Despite being in poor condition, its temper was still strong. Let's see who reaches that peak first. The loser doesn't get lunch today. Fry felt a familiar warmth, reminded of a friend similar to the phoenix. As the magical power continued to flow, the phoenix's injuries gradually healed. After the wound healed, the phoenix once again displayed the aura befitting a divine beast. This is my way of thanking you for reminding me of the past. Don't overexert yourself next time. After being healed, the phoenix left the cave without looking back. However, before leaving, it quietly left behind a feather. This cheeky kid, it even left me a gift. Its feathers can be used to heal wounds or make magical items, which could fetch a good price. It seems this guy understands gratitude, unlike someone else, who I've provided for several days and has been of no use at all. Fry, you weren't talking about me just now, were you? Can't you be a bit kinder to humans as well? But Fry completely ignored her. He had already entered a state of training. Just like that, a week passed in the blink of an eye. During these days, Fry had not eaten and looked very weak, but in Isabel's eyes, Fry exuded an incredibly mysterious aura. If it weren't for his exceptional strength, Fry would seem like a vagrant from the streets. He sometimes showed coldness and sharpness, yet he was exceptionally gentle with the phoenix, as if he were a highly respected sage or a great mage. For some reason, Isabel once again saw the shadow of Lucas Trauman in Fry. She guessed that this feeling was because she was full of admiration for Fry. At that moment, the magic within Fry began to change rapidly. After a week of fasting and training, Fry finally opened his eyes. Under Isabel's gaze, Fry slowly stood up. Although it was hard to believe, Fry really did it within a month. Congratulations, Fry, on becoming a 6-star mage. The boy had reached a realm in 1 month that others took decades to achieve, a 6-star mage. Although Isabel witnessed the entire process, she still found it hard to believe. Before Fry, the youngest 6-star mage in the world had been 35 years old. If people knew that a student from West Road Academy had entered the 6-star realm, it would surely cause great turmoil. Now, Fry could gather magic just by breathing, but the next second, he staggered and almost fell to the ground. I've only been hungry for a week, and my body has become like this. Fry, would you like some jerky? No, let's go hunt. I'd like to eat something greasy. The two walked out of the cave, only to be startled by the sight before them. There were monster corpses everywhere. No wonder the barrier was broken, but no monsters disturbed us. It was that phoenix guy. It seems the divine beast protected us. Fry remembered what he had said to the phoenix, feeling a hint of relief in his heart. It looks like we don't need to go hunting. After we eat them, let's go straight to Schweitzer's dungeon. Just then, a scream came from the distance. That's a human scream, and it's not far. Damn it, I'm almost starving to death. Fry slowly crouched down, then with a powerful push of his legs, he disappeared from Isabel's sight in the next second. How could you leave me behind and go off by yourself? Meanwhile, at the place where the scream came from, a badly injured mercenary was continually wailing. Your skills are so poor, and you call yourself the vice captain of the Skullax bandits? I'm embarrassed for you. I was like that because I drank too much. Alright, no more explanations. Now it's my turn to show you. Stop playing around. Let's go. One last throw, Chief Lawrence. I'm about to turn defeat into victory. I don't know when that woman is going to show up. It's been almost a month now. I really don't know how long we're going to stay in this damn place. You idiots watch carefully. This time I'll definitely hit that guy, the man said as he threw the throwing knife he was holding. Watching the approaching knife, the bound man kept wailing, but just as the knife was about to hit him, it was deflected by something. What just happened? How did it not hit? Looks like I win after all. Even the wind is on my side now. Alright, let's go. The chief is going to be mad. Just then, a stranger's figure appeared next to the man. You scared me. Who are you? When did you get here? Almost instantly, these people tightly gripped their weapons. This kid looks like he's about done. He seems to be dead already. Using a living person as a target for darts. You guys are really creative. He's supposed to be almost dead. How can he still talk? The next second, the man who had just spoken was beheaded. His body was kneeling on the ground, and a scythe could be seen not far away. Everything happened so fast. Everyone was still in shock. Lawrence recognized it. That was a 5-star magic Grim Reaper's scythe. Hello there, scumbags. Now come and atone for your sins. By the time Isabel arrived, the battle had already ended. All around on the ground were the thieves' bodies strewn about, with Fry just standing quietly in the middle of them, hardly looking like he had just been in a battle. Did you kill them all? I spared one, but I cast a tracking spell on him. It seems this guy is the deputy leader, so they must have a leader in charge. Do you intend to catch them all? How could I stand by and watch when I see such indiscriminate killing? Humans hating and slaughtering each other is a scene that Demigod loves to see. Fry could not let Demigod have his way. even over a small matter. Just the thought of demigod being happy about it makes Fry feel sick. Are you two here to rescue me? Although you're in a pitiful state, you've lost too much blood. We have no reason to take you with us. Please, I can't die here. Fry seemed to completely ignore the man's plea, turning to leave. I want to apologize to my father before I die. The moment he heard this, Fry silently turned his head back. Meanwhile, the news of the annihilation of the third squad had already reached the leader's ears. Are you drunk? How can there be ghosts in the Hispania? It's true, Captain Karlst. I saw it with my own eyes. That guy had long gray hair, was skinny as a rail, and I could smell the rot on him. He seemed very adept at mountain warfare. We were wiped out without much resistance. Everyone's heads were chopped off in an instant. I was the only one who barely made it back alive. Hearing his subordinate's words, Karlst calmed down and began to analyze. It seems that the ghost he's talking about must be a mage, and a very powerful one at that. Strengthen the guard, and if that ghost is spotted, immediately alert everyone. That guy is a battle mage. Kill him on the spot if you encounter him. Could it be sent by the Aquareed family? How could that arrogant knightly family hire a mage as a bodyguard? And you guys, have you been using living people as targets again? Who exactly was the target? Just a rookie mercenary, recently captured while protecting a mother and daughter gathering herbs. It made no sense for such a person to hire a mage. Karlst couldn't understand what was behind this mage. Not long after, a destroyed carriage appeared in the forest, and everywhere on the ground lay the corpses of knights. Without exception, these people all came from the Aquareed family. Don't look at me with that kind of gaze. I'll get soft-hearted. Do you know how long I've been waiting for you here? The eldest daughter of the noble Aquareed knight family, Sonia Aquareed. Sonia didn't have time to respond to Karlst because she had to face the relentless attacking bandits. Although these bandits were not very strong, after a long battle, Sonia's stamina had noticeably declined, and her sword no longer had the unstoppable momentum it once did. With almost no effort, the bandits knocked Sonia away. But even at this moment, she still managed to steady herself, knowing full well that as the eldest daughter of a noble knight family, being ambushed while passing through the Hispania was a disgrace. Ah, you're really charming, still unwilling to give up even in this state. The flame sword of the kingdom of Lunable truly lives up to its name. My month living in the wilderness has not been in vain. Sonia Aquareed, you are indeed a beauty, just as the rumors say. As the eldest daughter of a prestigious knight family, you possess strength greater than any male heir. The genius knight awarded the title Rainstorm by the king at just 18. Am I right? Now, Sonia was left with only 2 maids and the retired, non-combatant Sir Luther. In contrast, the opponents still numbered over 20, each one formidable. Sonia knew very well that unless something unexpected happened, she was undoubtedly doomed. I'm curious about one thing. Where's your mage bodyguard now? What do you mean by that? Do you still want to humiliate me at this point? As a legendary knight family, we don't need mages for protection. The mages of this era are all weaklings. Karlst realized that the attackers were not Sonia's subordinates, which made him even more curious about who the ghost was and why it appeared here. Don't worry, I won't kill you right away. What do you mean by that? What do you think? Is there really any need for me to elaborate? I never expected people like us would have the opportunity to play with a noble lady. It's truly exciting to think about. Hearing this, Sonia trembled with anger. I would rather bite my tongue and die than be defiled by people like you. Well, it seems there's no choice. We'll just have to let those 2 ladies accompany us for a while. To capture you, we've endured a month of inhuman conditions, so we're feeling a bit thirsty. You'd better compensate us well. We won't let you die so easily. At that moment, Sonia understood why these people had left 2 non-combatant maids behind. Miss, please rest assured, we will definitely not hold you back. If I could die for the honor of Miss Sonia, it would be my privilege. Seeing the determination in Sir Luther's eyes, Sonia knew he had made up his mind. And indeed, at this point, there was no better option. I'm sorry, everyone. It's all because of my incompetence as a master that you've been dragged into this. Miss, don't say that. We grew up eating the food of the Aquareed family. Miss, please do us the honor of ending our lives by your hand. If we become their playthings, we won't be able to face you in heaven. Sonia gripped her sword tightly. Then we'll meet again in heaven. What are you all talking about? Are you trying to make us run around? For the honor of the 2 young ladies and the reputation of the Aquareed family, Sonia Aquareed will embark on a new journey with you. Damn, quick, stop her. Don't just stand there, get her. However, Sonia had already swung her sword, but the next moment shocked everyone. It turned out that the 2 maids of the Aquareed family had not died, but instead, the sword in Sonia's hand had vanished into thin air. Sonia couldn't imagine that among these people there was such a powerful presence. Sorry, it seems I cannot grant you an honorable death. Now, as the eldest daughter of the Aquareed family, I order all of you to bite your tongues and commit suicide. Miss Sonia. Only when she heard Sir Luther's call did Sonia snap back to reality. At that moment, she realized that a stranger was standing beside her holding her sword. We've been looking for so long, and you finally decided to show up. Sonia then realized that it was Fry standing next to her with her sword. Seeing Fry, who appeared suddenly, Sonia and her subordinates were completely confused about what had happened. My men are still looking for you all over the place, and here you are, delivering yourself right to us. Fry casually handed the sword back to Sonia. So you are their leader, right? Sonia, having received her sword back, looked confused, unsure whether the person beside her was a friend or foe. Seeing the direction from which Fry had come, Karlst suddenly remembered something. How did you come from that direction? That's supposed to be our camp. What have you done to my men? What do you think? Of course, I took good care of them. Kill that bastard. Don't give him time to cast a spell. Based on previous intelligence, Fry was supposed to be a battle mage, and battle mages' combat power is not that great. They are not supposed to have an advantage in close combat. However, a sudden magical assault scattered the thieves, and even Karlst found himself struggling to defend. Although he knew the enemy was a battle mage, he had not anticipated such formidable power. Moreover, the attack wasn't over. Countless spells were still converging on him from the sky. Seeing such a shocking scene, the others were left dumbfounded. Who exactly are you? What are your intentions? You can rest assured, we are not your enemies. Karlst, confident he knew battle mages better than anyone, understood that magical attacks have a specific frequency and cannot continue indefinitely. Given the tremendous power of magic, Karlst guessed that Frey's main target was himself. This meant that Fry would either stop attacking due to exhaustion or get killed by his men if he lost concentration. Regardless, Karlst believed that Frey's end could only be one thing, a dead end. However, at that moment, he saw his men flying past him one by one. How is this possible? In his view, it was simply impossible. A mage couldn't possibly possess such an immense amount of magical power. However, he was caught off guard and struck by a spell. He realized clearly that he was no match for the mage before him. After Frey's attack ceased, very few survived, and those who did survive were all severely injured. Karlst, who had just been desperately begging for his life, seemed to have found a glimmer of hope. He's out of mana. Now, finish him off. Hearing this, the thieves gathered all their strength to stand up. You're out of mana? Let me help you. Seeing the situation, Sonya immediately tried to protect the seemingly magicless Fry. However, Fry slowly raised his hand, stopping Sonya. It's dangerous here. This scene shocked Sonya immensely. She couldn't imagine that this mage, who had been looked down upon by her own family, possessed such immense power, wiping out their seemingly unstoppable enemies in just seconds. Isn't Earthquake a 5-star spell? He was just fighting off the thieves, so when did he even? Sonya looked utterly confused. In fact, those earlier spells were merely distractions, giving Fry the time he needed to cast Earthquake. Sonya couldn't believe that such powerful magic was just a diversion. I had never seen anything like it either. Before meeting him, I never imagined magic could be used in such a way. Only then did Sonya realize how deeply rooted her prejudice against mages was. I am Sonya Aquareed from the Kingdom of Lunable. The name's Fry Blake. You are really rude. How can you say that? I just saved you all. I apologize. This guy has no idea what manners are. I am Isabel Trisnan. Earlier, in the heat of battle, Sonya hadn't noticed the foul smell coming from Fry. Now she could clearly smell the stench emanating from him. So, he's from the Blake family. Sir Luther, do you know him? That's one of the most famous families in the Castca Empire. The current head, Isaka Blake, is one of the Empire's 8 7-star mages and also the master of the 6th magic tower. So, where are you planning to go now? We're heading to the nearest city. I heard there's a city called Hispaniola nearby. It seems we have the same destination. Let me guide you there. Although we appreciate your kindness, we still need to handle our comrades' corpses first, and that will take quite a bit of time. Are you planning to leave them here? We have no choice. We can't transport so many bodies to the city. Let me help you take them to the city. With a simple raise of his hand, Fry made all the bodies of the Aquareed family knights float in the air. The shattered carriage was also reassembled into a small cart. This unbelievable scene shocked Sonya once again. I've taken care of your comrades' bodies. Let's set off now. And with that, the group prepared to depart. They set off on their journey toward Hispaniola. Along the way, Sonya learned something that shocked her. Fry was only 20 years old. Judging by his appearance, she had thought he was in his 30s. 20 or 30, it doesn't really matter. Being young is always a good thing. Frey's answer left Sonya completely puzzled. Those people seem to have been waiting for you in the mountains. Do you know who might have sent them? According to the thieves, they had been waiting there for over a month, and coincidentally, a month was exactly the time since they had left Lunable. We have no idea who could have orchestrated this. The Aquareed family has many friends, but just as many enemies. Even so, their strength was incredibly formidable. If they could hire such a powerful band of thieves, the one pulling the strings must be very influential. Although Fry had subdued them easily, Sonya couldn't help but ask, by the way, how did you acquire such immense power? I used to think mages were weak, but today you've completely changed my mind. Do you really need to ask? Of course, it's through hard work, Fry said, leaving Sonya stunned in the wind. Not long after, they finally arrived at the port of Hispaniola. They transported the bodies of the Aquareed knights back to the family, and a maid was assigned to guard them on the ship. Under the group's watchful eyes, the brave knights began their journey home. Thank you both. Thanks to you, they were able to return to their families. No need to be so polite. It's our honor to have been able to help. We have our own matters to attend to, so this is where we part ways. However, just as they were about to leave, Sonya suddenly rushed forward and grabbed his arm. Fry, curious, wondered what she still wanted. With a shy expression, Sonya said, I want to repay your kindness. There's no need for that. It was just mutual assistance. Please, if we let you leave just like that, the Aquareed family's honor would be tarnished. Although Fry was experienced, he was clueless when it came to interpersonal personal relationships, so he had no choice but to look toward Isabel for help. Isabel didn't say anything but smiled and nodded. Then treat us to a meal. I happen to know a place with really great sausages. And so, Fry took them back to the tavern where they had set off from. It was Sonia and her group's first time in such a place, and they seemed a bit uneasy. This place doesn't seem quite suitable for nobles to dine. It's the dirty, noisy places that serve the most delicious food. You brat, how dare you call my place dirty and noisy? Look at yourself, you're a mess. But you all made it back alive. I'm really glad to see you again. And we're not the only ones who made it back alive. There's someone you might know, Fry said, motioning for the man beside him to step forward. That man was the mercenary Fry had saved from the thieves. The moment the owner saw him, the food he was holding fell to the ground. Kazan, are you really Kazan? You're not dead? Recognizing his son, the owner immediately grabbed bandages and started wrapping his wounds. We did some emergency treatment. As long as he rests for a few days, he'll be fine. He was taken hostage by the thieves while protecting a mother and her daughter. I don't know if he has the talent to be a mercenary, but as a man, he's not nearly as bad as you always thought. I've always regretted arguing with you and running away from home. It's okay now. You're back alive, and that's all that matters. It turned out that the mercenary Fry had saved from the thieves was the tavern owner's son, who had long been presumed dead. Isabel was curious how Fry had known. Isn't it obvious? They look exactly the same. The one dragging us down seemed to be quite skilled in healing magic, which is really surprising. Is the dragging the team down person you're talking about supposed to be me? I was planning to stay here with my companions tonight, but it seems like the place is already full. So many customers. This place must be popular. It's a pity, but I guess we'll have to find somewhere else. Sorry about that. The sausages here really are something special. Everyone, get out of here. Didn't you hear? The place is closed for the night. The owner suddenly slapped the food off the guests' table, pushing and kicking them out. Tonight's meal is on the house. Now get out. After clearing the place, the owner hung a closed sign on the door. Who said we're full? Look around. Not a single customer left. Now let me do my thing. You should go take a bath first. Since they had been in the Hispania for so long, they had no reason to refuse. As the eldest daughter of a noble family, Sonia's arms were covered in unsightly scars. She shook her arms as if trying to rid herself of the scars, but she knew it was futile. Meanwhile, the table was already laden with food. Fry, having not eaten for a week, was stuffing bread into his mouth. Just then, Sonia came out, wrapped in a towel. Finally, you're here. We've already been eating for a while. Seeing Fry after his bath, Sonia's face suddenly flushed a little. Are you feeling unwell? Why is your face so red? I didn't expect you to actually look somewhat human after a bath, Sonia teased, but as she lost her balance, she almost fell, and Fry caught her just in time. You have way too many scars, Fry noticed, looking at the marks on her arms. Hearing this, Sonia quickly pulled away from Frey's hand, hugging her arms tightly, trying to hide the scars. Those scars are incredible. They're the proof of all your hard work. It was the first time Sonia had ever heard someone praise her scars, and her face turned even redder. I heard you're heading to Casca. What's your final destination? We're headed to the June family. Hearing the mention of the June family, both Fry and Isabel were startled, recalling their recent encounter with Peruan June. After all, Peruan was engaged to marry a daughter of the Aquareed family. Are you going to the June family to fulfill a marriage agreement? Do you know Lord Peruan as well? Fry and Lord Peruan are friends from West Road Academy, and Peruan personally told us about the engagement. So, Sonia, you're Peruan's fiancé. Peruan is really a lucky guy. Soon, the night passed, and it was time for them to part ways. Miss Sonia, I hope you have a safe journey ahead. Fry, once you're done with your own business, come visit the June family. If I'm free, I'll come. Good, I'll be waiting for you there. You must be quite pleased, getting the attention of a noble girl like Sonia. Exactly. Peruan must have used up all his luck for a lifetime. Isabel couldn't understand. Fry was clearly interested in women, so why did he seem so oblivious? We've arrived. The Schweitzer dungeon is just over there. He was pointing toward the towering mountain in the distance. Seeing the sight before her, Isabel could hardly believe her eyes. No wonder this place is called the Drake Mountains. It turns out it's full of drake dragons. As you know, one of the strongest creatures among monsters is the drake dragon. Does this mean we have to fight that kind of monster if we want to enter the dungeon? If only that were the case. Take a good look at our feet. In front of them was an enormously large footprint. The Drake King seems to be dozens of times larger than ordinary dragons. Isabel's face turned pale instantly, and her legs gave way as she collapsed to the ground. That's impossible. I've never heard of a drake dragon that big. Why panic? This is the Hispania Mountains. Nothing is strange here. A place known as the Hell Mountains. Suddenly, Fry used magic, and a powerful shock instantly sent Isabel flying. Have you gone mad? Why attack me all of a sudden? However, when she looked up, she saw a monster holding a large tree standing where she had just been. Although Isabel knew Fry had helped her dodge the monster, she still didn't understand why Fry didn't just shout to warn her. The creature in front of them was a mutated orc with 3 eyes and red skin, undoubtedly a mutant. The tavern keeper said there were mutants near these mountains, and it looks like he was right. After dodging the orc's first attack, it targeted Isabel again for its next assault. Almost simultaneously, Isabel quickly adjusted her position and cast a fireball spell. From her reaction, it was clear she had made significant progress compared to before. However, Surprisingly, the strike did not cause any damage to the orc. Its skin has strong resistance to fire, probably related to those drake dragons. Could it be a tribute evolution? So what do we do now? What else can we do? Since fire is ineffective, let's use ice. Fry merely created 2 small ice cones, making Isabelle feel as if she had entered winter. She didn't know why, but Fry always reminded her of the great mage Lucas Trauman. After forming the ice cones, Fry hesitated not a moment before swinging his hand and launching the 2 ice cones at the orc like cannonballs. Such an attack should have instantly killed the orc in front of them, but the next second, the orc launched a new round of attacks without any hindrance. Both were incredulous that the powerful ice cones created by Fry couldn't penetrate the orc's body. This guy really is tough. At a time like this, you still have the mood to joke. Isabelle launched another fireball. Although it didn't stop the orc's attack, it successfully distracted its vision, buying time for them to hide. This guy has not only evolved his attributes, but also strengthened his bones and skin. Monsters with good defense are best dealt with fire, but don't forget, its skin is resistant to fire. How about burying it with an earthquake spell like last time? Do you want to use that kind of loud magic? Attract all the nearby drake? Just one is noisy enough already. We must focus our attacks on one point. After devising a strategy, Fry took the initiative to stand out. Another useless attack? Didn't you say we need to concentrate our attack on one point to succeed? Fry didn't explain further, but simply arranged the ice cones together. Seeing the 2 who had disappeared finally appear, the orc roared, "Can't you stop ruining my plan? I don't want to use loud magic, and you're still shouting so loudly," Fry said helplessly as he launched the first ice cone. The ice cone hit the orc's head precisely, but the orc still charged forward with the ice cone embedded in its head. "Just as I thought, it's useless. Fry, quickly use another magic. You just need to watch quietly now, and don't interfere." Fry continued to fire ice cones, each one hitting the orc's head precisely. Gradually, the orc finally showed signs of falling, and by then, only 1 ice cone remained above Frey's head. Without any surprises, the last ice cone also flew towards the same target. 10 ice cones made it look like the orc had horns growing on its head. With a loud crash, the mutated orc finally fell. See, focusing attack on one point is the most effective way. But just then, the roar of a monster came from behind them again. Damn it, the noise the orc made was still too loud. They immediately realized that it was a drake dragon lurking nearby. It has attracted all the surrounding dragons. Attracted by the noise, the drake dragon now spotted the 2 on the ground. It looks like this journey won't be too boring after all. Drake dragons possess very strong fire magic, but for Fry, dealing with them was not a difficult task. Therefore, Fry decided to use them as a trial for Isabelle. To deal with fire attribute monsters, water attribute magic works best, but the 2 ice blades Isabelle cast were deflected by the dragon's tough scales. Just as the drake dragon was about to use its fire breath on her, Fry timely intervened, piercing the dragon's body with an ice blade. All the dragons that followed were easily defeated by Fry. However, just as the 2 relaxed their guard, a loud noise came from the ground. A colossal creature appeared before them. "It's the Drake King." Fry immediately covered Isabelle's mouth, and they hid. "This is not a monster I can defeat now. Let's wait for it to leave." At this moment, all they could do was pray that the Drake King would not discover them. A huge paw landed in front of them, but fortunately, the Drake King did not notice them and slowly moved away. After the Drake King left, the forest was leveled, and the huge footprints left behind reminded them that what had just happened was not an illusion. For the next 2 weeks, Fry continued to battle monsters in this area. After each fight, he would meditate to recover his strength, while Isabelle helped heal his wounds with healing spells. Although she did not directly participate in the combat, Isabelle also appeared very tired. However, it was precisely because of these monsters that Frey's abilities underwent a qualitative improvement. But there was still one crucial thing he had not yet accomplished. "Let's go, Isabelle. It's time to go there now." Afterward, the 2 used a flight spell and flew towards the towering mountain peak. Don't let your guard down. Given Schweitzer's personality, it wouldn't be strange for him to keep a huge monster in this lake. How did you know Schweitzer's dungeon was here? Because that guy has a catchphrase. On the mountain that reaches the clouds, there's a beautiful lake and then a tiny island. He said he wanted to live carefree in such a breathtaking place. And where did you learn that from? But Fry did not answer her. He just told Isabelle that he had found it. After landing, Isabelle was stunned by the sight of the island before her. She had never seen such a beautiful island. "I knew Schweitzer would choose this place. Beneath this island, there's a dungeon several times larger than the island itself. This island is just an entrance. Although it looks simple, it's actually very sophisticated. It's just like him." Once there, Isabelle felt Fry seemed to become more and more unfamiliar. Before long, they found an enormous tree. "This tree is way too big. It's obviously an entrance." Isabelle looked at Fry now, with countless questions in her heart, but ultimately she didn't ask because she knew the answers would be unattainable. Thus, the 2 of them walked step by step deeper into the dungeon. After a long walk, they finally arrived in front of a massive door. "How on earth are we supposed to open this? This is a magic circle built by Schweitzer himself. If we try to force it open, both of us will die instantly." After some exploration, Fry placed his hand on a sphere beside them. Instantly, a large amount of smoke erupted from the sphere, enveloping the entire space. The smoke gradually condensed in the the air, forming the shape of a child. Finally, someone has come again. Can you hear me speaking? This child is really bold. Who is he? However, Fry did not answer her. At this moment, he was trembling all over as he stared at the child in front of him. Welcome to my dungeon. You look like little magicians trying to gain something here. Fry, trembling, reached out his hand to touch the child, but his hand passed right through the child's face. It seems to be just an illusion recorded by magic. You really made things complicated, reducing so many years from your age. Damn old man, even pulling this kind of trick. But it's nice to see you again in this way, Schweitzer Stroh. So, what did you come here for? Tell me. At the sound of these words, tears were already filling Frey's eyes. But even if you speak, I can't hear you. After all, this is just an automatically generated recording. But no matter what you want, you'll certainly get it because this is my Schweitzer Stroh's dungeon. Fry pondered for a moment and finally asked the question that troubled him. How did you die? However, the illusion continued with its preset. Of course, I won't let you in easily. To enter the dungeon, you must answer my questions correctly. If you answer one wrong, you might never get out. So, be cautious. The voice and tone before him were exactly like Schweitzer's back in the day, as if it took Fry back to those carefree days. But no matter how he called out, the illusion before him still could not respond to his real emotions. Schweitzer could no longer hear him. For the first time, Fry realized that he had become a lone individual. Those he had loved deeply had long since turned to dust, and the one responsible for their fate still ruled this world. So, Fry must defeat those bastards. Dragging your feet, not very manlike. Then I'll start with the first question. What do I, Schweitzer Stroh, hate the most? Without a moment's hesitation, Fry answered directly, demigod. Congratulations, adorable little magician, you answered correctly. As the voice faded, the massive stone door slowly opened, and Schweitzer's figure also disappeared. Fry didn't say much and walked straight through the giant door. Isabel hurriedly followed. Fry, could it be that you? Hearing Isabel's words, Fry stopped and silently turned around. Isabel had countless questions she wanted to ask him, but when the words reached her lips, she didn't know how to start. What are you waiting for? This is Schweitzer's dungeon. Knowing his personality, he definitely won't let us through easily. No one knows what kind of traps lie ahead. If you let your guard down, you really could die. If you want to become stronger, then discard those miscellaneous thoughts. Let's go in. No one knew whether what awaited them was the beginning or the end. After walking down a long corridor, Fry and Isabel arrived at a new door. He placed his hand on the sphere again, summoning Schweitzer's illusion. Schweitzer was dressed the same, only this time he had taken on the appearance of his younger self. It seemed that with each door passed, he would change to a different period of his life. I won't say much. I'm going to start with the second question now. I forgot to mention, the deeper you go, the more powerful the things you encounter, but you can only take one item. If you violate the rules, these adorable golems will get very angry. Just one wrong step and you could be disqualified, so be very careful. That woman, Iris Founder, is particularly annoying. I really can't understand the thought process of witches. We're clearly struggling to save the world, yet she jeopardizes the safety of the continent over a man. Iris Founder, isn't that the Black Witch Iris? Fry also recalled the Iris he knew, a woman with hair as dark as the night and a mysterious smile always on her lips. She fully deserved the title of Black Witch, and Fry didn't know what man could resist her allure. Just thinking about Iris made Fry involuntarily salivate. Although Iris is annoying, I actually hate Lucas more. Iris made her pursuit so obvious, and yet that boy was completely clueless. He really likes women, but his discernment is ridiculously poor. Truly befitting of a magician. Even the golems standing behind him have better discernment than he does. Anyway, let's ask your question. Iris enslaves 3 powerful demons, one of which is with 6 arms, each holding a different weapon. Before Schweitzer could finish speaking, Fry already answered, it's called Asura. After giving the correct answer, Fry proceeded deeper into the dungeon. From here, the corridor was filled with various treasures. The illusion of Schweitzer before the third door had also changed, this time into a middle-aged man. Fry then realized that this entire dungeon was actually Schweitzer's memoir, but he was unclear about the emotions Schweitzer harbored while building it. He was also curious about what message Schweitzer ultimately wanted to convey. Just like that, Fry encountered almost no obstacles, and the questions Schweitzer posed had nothing to do with the path of magic. Fry entered the final door. At this moment, the illusion of Schweitzer had become an old man, a form Fry had never seen before. He could not imagine that the old man before him was once his close friend whom he had spent day and night with, Lucas Trauman, who became the world's greatest great mage at just 40 years old. He was also a mentor to all humanity. To be his friend was the pride of my life and my greatest happiness. Actually, me too, Schweitzer, me too. Hearing Frey's words, Isabel's eyes widened in shock. I'm going to ask you the final question. Tell me my real name. It was at this moment that Fry finally understood Schweitzer's true purpose. The answers to these questions were known only to him. Fry paused for 2 seconds, then gave the answer, Schweitzer Wilsman. Hearing this response, a smile appeared on Schweitzer's lips. Go ahead, inside is something I've prepared for you. From now on, I'm counting on you, Lucas. Upon hearing this, Fry quickly reached out his hand, wanting to take another look at his old friend. Unfortunately, like before, the illusion of Schweitzer dissipated into smoke. Fry maintained that gesture, his hand trembling slightly. Isabel could hardly believe her ears, as Schweitzer had called Fry Lucas. After answering all of Schweitzer's questions, Fry finally arrived at the last room. Unlike before, this place was filled with the air of life. As soon as Fry entered, he started rummaging through a box on the floor. Before long, he pulled out a vial. Finally found it. What is that? Frozen River. You mean to say this is Frozen River? Isn't that the legendary treasure that condenses only a drop in a millennium in the Wailing Cave? I heard that just one drop can enhance the magic and vitality throughout one's body, and even instantly turn an ordinary person into a 4-star mage. You're right, that's the effect of the Frozen River. But isn't that supposed to exist only in legends? Is this really Frozen River? Of course, if I want to reach the 7-star level in a short time, I need its help. Is that why you came here? Speaking of which, Isabel also began to rummage through the box. It wasn't long before she found a pair of earrings. What is this? Seeing the earrings in Isabel's hands, a flicker of recognition flashed in Frey's eyes. Did Lord Schweitzer like jewelry too? But this style is really old-fashioned. That bastard Schweitzer, to think he'd put such trivial things in the final room. Those are called the Typhoon earrings, which I made when I was bored. What does that mean? Why would something you made be in Schweitzer's dungeon? Those are earrings I made 4,000 years ago. I made them just to pass the time, but Schweitzer really liked them, so I gave them to him. I never thought he would keep them till now. Could you explain what you just said properly? Haven't you guessed already? I am Lucas Trauman. Although Isabel had suspected it, the moment she heard the truth, she was as stunned as if turned to wood. For 1,000 years ago, Schweitzer and I fought against Demigod Lord, but in the end, I was defeated. I was imprisoned in the dark hell for 4,000 years. One day, a voice came through the darkness to my ears. That was Fry Blake's voice. I don't know why he called out to me, nor why my consciousness merged with his. Anyway, I eventually answered his call, and this body I have now was given to me by Fry. That figures. I thought you wouldn't believe it. This story does sound absurd, but so many things happened before we came here, so now I find this absurd story quite convincing. You are Lucas Trauman, Lord Lucas. I pay my respects to you. From now on, just call me Fry. It helps with my plans. Also, can you not be so cheesy? It's making my skin crawl. After explaining, Fry found a spot to quietly look at the Typhoon earrings in his hands. At that moment, Isabel found a bracelet in the box. That's the sage's staff, Schweitzer's favorite piece of equipment. You can't use this. Don't get your magic drained by it. After Fry put on the Typhoon earrings and the sage's staff, a powerful magical force surged from within him. Although I don't particularly like using magical equipment, these are, after all, relics from a friend. As Fry was reflecting, Isabel found something new. This is the core of a golem. Judging by the amount of magic stored inside, it seems to be no ordinary object. Let's hold on to it for now. Now, only Schweitzer's desk remained unexplored. Because of the magic infused, the candle on the desk would never burn out. He always liked these sorts of chaotic things. I feel it. Lord Schweitzer wanted to welcome you with the warmest environment, appreciating your hardships. Fry casually opened a book on the desk, but when he saw the writing on the first page, he froze. It starkly read, Lucas has disappeared. It was Demigod's doing. If it weren't for him, it wouldn't have been possible for Lucas to vanish without a trace. What should I do? This isn't just about a 9-star magician disappearing. It's about our core pillar, the last hope of humanity, disappearing. Schweitzer's diary recorded various events following Lucas's disappearance. The confrontation between the magic warrior king, Cassigen, and the blade king, Lucid, and the sudden disappearance of the Black Witch Iris, left the continent under Demigod's control, and Schweitzer, left to fend for himself, seemed unable to trust his kind anymore. Those who outwardly admired him actually sought to approach him and take his life. The diary detailed Schweitzer's daily struggles. Frey's heart was filled with mixed emotions seeing his best friend's lone and miserable fight. Lucas was our leader, and no one could replace him. Though I tried to take on his duties, at every critical moment, I felt deeply powerless and incompetent. I'm sorry, Lucas. It's all because I was too weak. This was a passage from the diary. Schweitzer, you fool. Why did you insist on enduring alone? Now that I've experienced that loneliness, I finally understand your feelings. Let me carry on this mission and watch how I fiercely deal with Demigod. After reading the diary, Fry was about to leave with his head lowered when Isabel suddenly reminded him, wait, there seems to be one more page. Turning to the last page, it read, to the person seeing this page, please complete Anastasia. All the clues are in my masterpiece, Anastasia. Lord Fry, what do you think Anastasia is? Fry took out the golem core he had just found and saw the name Anastasia inscribed on it. It seems Schweitzer hoped someone would help him complete this golem. Schweitzer was an exceptional doll maker, known as his finest masterpiece. What exactly could Anastasia be? If it's you, you should be able to complete his masterpiece with that core. But upon hearing this, Fry fell silent. In fact, he had never been good at making golems and had even been mocked by Schweitzer for this. Lord Fry, what's the matter? Do you have other concerns? Anyways, as long as we complete this, we can figure out the history not recorded in the diary. What do you mean by history not recorded? It's what happened during the time I was imprisoned. At that moment, Frey's expression suddenly became very serious. Fry, what's wrong? Did we forget something? Isabel, as soon as we leave this cave, you must immediately return to the village. It turns out that the king of the Drake Dragons, along with countless Drake Dragons, was lurking lurking outside the cave. After Fry came out of Schweitzer's dungeon, he discovered countless drake dragons perched at the cave entrance. Have you been waiting for me, king of the drake dragons? Answer me. I know you have developed a will of your own. You humans are really interesting. I indeed have been waiting for you. The deep voice of the drake king echoed in the air. You dared to enter mighty Torkunda's territory. You must have noticed us back in the forest, didn't you? Why did you pretend not to see? Fry stared at the drake king, his voice trembling. Isabel had never seen him this nervous before. Because I was waiting for you to come out of there. Everyone who comes out from there has nice things with them. I finally understand why your body has grown so large. You've turned the dungeon into a trap to hunt humans. You dared to use my best friend's cherished place as a trap to fill your stomach. I will make you pay the price. Seeing Frey's gaze, the drake king knew that a fight was inevitable. Torkunda felt a trace of fear. Although it wasn't as strong then as it is now, that woman had left an indelible shadow in its heart. Your gaze reminds me of someone I really dislike. Isabel, leave now while you can. I'm not confident I can handle it. Then I definitely cannot leave. You humans taste the best, so now let me enjoy this. Torkunda sneered, and then breathed out a blast of dragon breath towards them. Fry immediately summoned the sage's staff, and with its help, his magic successfully interrupted Torkunda's dragon breath. Don't you understand the situation yet? You just being here is getting in the way. Although Isabel wanted to help Fry, she knew this was the truth. Just hold on a little longer. I'll be right back. After Isabel left, Torkunda's dragon breath charged up again. This time, Fry dodged the attack without any hesitation, but Torkunda relentlessly pursued him, continuously spewing dragon breath. Fry dodged each attack with agile movements, but in the next second, Fry suddenly stopped. Several drake dragons had blocked his path. He had no choice but to use magic to take them out. After summoning ice spikes, Fry immediately called forth a tornado, and the combination of ice spikes and the tornado instantly pierced through the drake dragons. With just one strike, the dragons fell. The drake dragons blocking the way were all eliminated, but Fry knew that what he was doing was actually meaningless. As long as Torkunda was still there, the battle would never end. Looking at the massive Torkunda, Fry suddenly had a plan. Casting explosive shot required 3 seconds, so he had to precisely calculate based on Torkunda's speed and the direction of its approach. Fry released his magic according to his calculations, and at the moment Torkunda flew towards him, the explosive shot precisely detonated inside it. After a powerful explosion, Torkunda's body was enveloped in flames. I have to admit, you humans are really interesting. You actually calculated my speed in such a short time, and caused an explosion inside me. But what will you do now? The method was good, but the power was too weak. You weak humans really are pitiful. The powerful airflow from Torkunda's attack disrupted Frey's flight magic. At this moment, Fry was completely surrounded, with the king of the drake dragons, Torkunda, in front of him and countless drake dragons behind him. The only option might be to drink the frozen river that Schweitzer left for him. However, Isabel had asked about this just before. Isn't that why you came here, for the frozen river? Why not drink it now? Do you think this is just an ordinary nutrient? Stabilizing the frozen river, even for me, would take at least a week. But without food and water, you can't just stay here forever. So Fry knew very well that drinking the frozen river here would be a death sentence. Fry did not linger in battle. After clearing the drake dragons blocking his way, he immediately sped out of the encirclement. But somehow, Torkunda had quietly appeared in front of him. With the current distance, Fry absolutely could not dodge this dragon breath. At the critical moment, a column of fire struck Torkunda directly. The one who came to help was the phoenix Fry had saved before. These drake dragons were like chicks in front of the divine beast, the phoenix, standing no chance at all. So, you finally recovered? Hearing Frey's words, the phoenix cried out a few times in response. What is this? Little one, don't bother me. Phoenix, run. You're no match for it. But the phoenix seemed not to hear Fry at all, flapping its wings and charging directly at Torkunda. However, the phoenix's all-out attack hardly inflicted any damage on Torkunda. Phoenix, run. It has strong resistance to fire. It's your natural enemy. Run, you little fool. Listen to me. Yet, the phoenix did not flee. Its gaze was unwaveringly determined. Even though it knew it might die, it still wanted to buy time for Fry. But Fry would not run away. Or rather, the great mage Lucas Trauman would never abandon a companion to flee. Fry finally deeply realized his own weakness. Could it be because this body isn't really his? Or is it because the magic of the entire world has regressed, making him somewhat dull? Fry knew the real reason was his lack of determination. Reborn in this era, he no longer had the urgent desire to become strong he once had. Without hesitation, Fry headed to the cave closest to the battlefield. Even though he knew he might die, death was just another day for the once Lucas. With this mindset, Fry swallowed all the frozen river in one gulp. The powerful magic erupted within him, causing him unbearable pain. Almost instantly, Frey's hair turned completely white, but this terrifying power was not fully suppressed, and blood began to ooze from Frey's nose and mouth. He continuously pounded the ground, trying to calm the magic down. Fry knew he must win this battle, because there was still someone outside the cave fighting for him. No wonder you look familiar. Aren't you the divine creature that escaped from me not long ago? My luck today really is good. Even though that little guy who escaped is powerful, your vast life force is even more valuable. It turns out, a month ago, the phoenix was injured captured by Torkunda. Torkunda intended to use the phoenix as nourishment for his growth, but the dying phoenix still erupted with powerful energy. To Torkunda, such an attack was utterly ineffective. However, he didn't realize that the phoenix's attack was actually a cover for its escape. Torkunda did not pursue the phoenix because he knew that as long as they were in the Hispania Mountains, they would inevitably meet again. The repeatedly dying phoenix eventually escaped to a waterfall. There, it met a human. That human used his magic to heal the phoenix's wounds. The phoenix remembered the human saying while healing it, "My companions and I have had the same experience." It was because of this sentence that the phoenix came to see Fry as its companion. Now that its companion was in danger, how could it just stand by, even if the enemy was the natural predator that had almost killed it? What of it? Unfortunately, conviction cannot bridge the gap in their strengths. No matter how hard the phoenix tried, a natural enemy is a natural enemy. Meanwhile, Fry was also in great trouble. Although he was prepared, he did not expect the side effects to be so severe. The rebirth he had finally achieved was still going to be destroyed by his own hands. At the moment of collapse, he began to regret he no longer had the strength to continue absorbing. But Fry also wondered, was it really just physical strength that he was lacking? Just as Fry was about to succumb to the darkness, he felt a warm light appear before him. "Don't move yet. The circulation ring hasn't fully taken effect." "Isabel, how are you here? Didn't you say you needed some dry food and water to fully absorb the frozen river? Just now, you said you were all alone. Although I can't fully understand what you're feeling, I seem to get it a little when I'm the only one left. I don't know what your ultimate goal is, but I trust you, and only you. So don't say you're all alone anymore. You sure talk big for someone who's just a burden. But thank you, really." Only then did Fry finally realize what he was missing. It wasn't physical strength, nor persistence or determination, but trust in those around him. Meanwhile, Torkunda also felt something unusual. An extremely powerful chill burst forth from the cave. Just as it lowered its guard, the phoenix unexpectedly attacked. This strike blinded one of Torkunda's eyes, but the phoenix was bitten by Torkunda in the process. "You little insect, you dare blind the great Torkunda's eye." Saying this, Torkunda slammed the phoenix hard onto the ground. It didn't eat the phoenix right away, but instead vented its rage continuously. "You damn fool, you're about to die. So why are you still smiling? I'll tear your wings apart right now, and then bite you to pieces." Just as the phoenix was about to be killed by Torkunda, an attack suddenly came towards Torkunda. If it hadn't dodged in time, it might have died on the spot. Torkunda didn't know what had happened inside the cave, but at that moment, another wave of light spread from inside. This wave of light almost reached all the drake dragons. Every dragon touched by the light turned into an ice sculpture. Torkunda shook its wings slightly, and the ice on its body immediately shattered. But the other drake dragons weren't so lucky. Torkunda had lived for thousands of years, and this was only the second time it had felt this way. Instinct told it to flee immediately. The feeling Fry now gave it was similar to that of the woman who had once come here. Without hesitation, Torkunda tried to escape. It couldn't imagine that it would ever feel fear towards humans, and what frightened it were indeed humans. Just as Torkunda planned to return for revenge after its eyes healed, Fry somehow had already blocked its path. Torkunda quickly flapped its wings, trying to stop. It couldn't understand how a human could be faster than itself. Just as it was about to breathe out dragon breath, countless ice spikes appeared in front of it. Torkunda had no chance to react. The ice spikes all stabbed into its body. However, it still resisted, not allowing itself to fall from the sky. "You damn human, how could you possibly defeat Lord Torkunda?" But the next second, Torkunda realized that Fry had vanished from sight. "Because you are so arrogant, you let your guard down. A creature that's lived for thousands of years, and yet you only know how to rely on your eyes to fight." Torkunda then realized that Fry had used its blind spots to move. At that moment, Fry summoned another ice spear, hitting directly in the eye Torkunda had just been blinded in by the phoenix. "You despicable bastard." Torkunda then lashed out with its tail, slamming Fry against countless mountains before he finally stopped. But Torkunda found that the spot where it had touched Fry was now frozen, and there was movement in the pile of rocks that buried Fry. Torkunda couldn't believe that Fry was unscathed from the attack. "Are you really human? Who are you really? Why have you come to my territory?" At this time, Isabel was watching the battle from a corner. Although it seemed like Fry had the upper hand, she knew that Fry could pass out at any moment. Just then, Fry had summoned an enormous ice lance. Such a strong aura. "Do you really want to settle this once and for all?" Although Torkunda didn't know what had happened to Fry, it was convinced that Fry couldn't withstand its strongest attack. After all, even the phoenix couldn't withstand its killer move. As Fry was gathering his power, Torkunda released its strongest attack first. However, at the crucial moment, Frey's ice lance was also completed. The moment the two forces collided, a terrifying blast of air erupted. This force even made Isabel feel like the whole mountain range was shaking. At this moment, in front of her, fire and ice intertwined, creating a scene as beautiful as it was surreal. But ultimately, fire does overpower ice, and the magical power of a dragon is not something humans can match. Isabel realized that if the battle continued, Fry was likely to lose, and in a fight of this level, she was utterly useless. But the next second, Isabel noticed something was off. Fry, who should have been casting spells, had already disappeared. The outcome will be revealed soon. "A mere human could never surpass me." But before Torkunda could finish its taunt, Isabel's eyes widened. Fry had already, with a swing of the scythe, severed Torkunda's head. Just when Torkunda thought it had the upper hand, this king of the Hispania ended its reign of over 1,000 years. Isabel hadn't seen how Fry had gotten behind Torkunda. She couldn't believe that the 1,000-year-old king of the Drake Dragons was really dead, and Fry was not even at his peak yet. She couldn't imagine just how powerful Lucas Trauman must have been. But at that moment, Fry unexpectedly fell from the sky. Isabel quickly flew over to catch him. "Are you okay? Your body is as cold as ice. Take me to the Phoenix. You really are amazing to have defeated the king of the Drake Dragons so easily." "That's because it had far less combat experience than me. But hasn't it lived for thousands of years? Killing and actual combat are completely different. Fighting an opponent of equal strength requires some strategy and tactics. I first used tactics to make it believe I was going all out, when in fact I only used 80% of my magic to cast the Ice Lance. Then I used the last 20% to move behind it and deliver the fatal blow, using just 80% of my strength to create such a large Ice Lance. I have learned a lot." It wasn't long before the two finally arrived where the Phoenix was. Unfortunately, they were one step too late. The Phoenix had already lost its life in the fierce battle that had just taken place. Fry raised his hand, and the Phoenix's body floated into the air. "What are you trying to do? It just saved me. Now I must save it." Fry moved the Phoenix's body next to Torkunda's corpse, and Isabel was surprised to see that the fiery essence from Torkunda's heart was gradually being absorbed by the Phoenix. This energy should be enough to revive the Phoenix. Torkunda is gone, and a great battle will surely ensue here for the title of King of the Mountains. I'll let you be the king. Please protect my friend's dungeon. You must become the master of this mountain range. I look forward to our next meeting. Although only a few days have passed, it feels like a long time has gone by, and some scenes, even though 4,000 years have passed, still seem like yesterday. Even though he is in the same time and space, Fry always seems out of place. Whenever he is alone, Fry always feels like he has been abandoned by time. Fortunately, a voice brought him back to reality. "I've already booked the return ticket, but unfortunately, there are no ships sailing today." "That's alright. It's been tough on you. How does your body feel?" "Fine, but I feel like I need to lose some weight." The weapons from Torkunda's lair that they acquired were a great help, especially the salamander cloak with its strong fire attribute, which alleviated the cold energy of the frozen river. "Do you really need to bring back all the weapons from the lair? The spatial bag is so bulging. Although they might not be used, we can't just leave my friend's belongings in such a place." Speaking of which, school is about to start. This vacation really felt long, almost like several years, and we were only in Hispaniola for a week. Should we go visit Lord Peruan's home, since the June family is in Cosymphony? So, the two of them simply went to Peruan's home. Seeing the luxurious manor, they looked like primitives who had never seen the civilized world. "May I ask what brings you to the June family? Is Peruan around?" "I came to see him." "May I ask who you are?" "I'm his friend." "I didn't ask that. What's your name?" The guard couldn't imagine this impolite person being Peruan's friend. Fry, unlike his usual delay, directly stated his name. "My name is Fry Blake. You should know." Peruan had mentioned this before. "I have a friend named Fry, the third son of the Blake family. If he visits, treat him with the highest regard." The guard couldn't imagine that this seemingly country bumpkin was the young master's best friend. Just then, a carriage stopped at the gate. "This is the carriage of the June family's young lady. What's going on here?" "Lady Lilia." These two claimed to be the young master's friends. "Brothers' friends?" "Oh, it's Lord Fry. I often hear my brother talk about you." "Then this must be Miss Isabel, right?" "I am Lilia, Peruan's sister. Please, get in a carriage, and I'll take you both inside for a sit." Lilia's every move full of noble grace didn't impress Fry much, but Isabel was stunned. Such a beautiful lady. Even I, as a woman, find myself charmed. "I'm terribly sorry, young lady. We have yet to confirm their identities." But Lilia said nothing, just silently looked at the guard. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have questioned them. I'll let the lady pass now." Thus, the carriage carrying Fry entered the estate. Fry rode in Lilia's carriage into the June family's grounds, but after a long time, they still had not seen the June family's house. During this time, Lilia kept staring intently at Fry. "Why are you staring at me like that? Do you have something you want to say to me? You feel different from what my brother described. And wasn't your hair gray? How did it turn white? You're talking about this? A lot has happened recently. You don't need to be so formal. After all, you're my brother's friend, and also a descendant of the Blake family." "Alright, no problem. I was actually worried I'd feel out of place." "What's wrong? You're the one who told me not to be formal. I heard that you and my brother were students at West Road Academy. What kind of person is my brother at the academy?" "I wouldn't know. Peruan was 2 grades ahead of me, so we never crossed paths." Only then did Lilia realize that Fry was about her age, but she couldn't imagine that Peruan would be friends with someone like him. After what felt like a long time, they could finally see Peruan's home from the carriage. Lilia led the way for the rest of the journey. After receiving a message from the guard, Peruan was also waiting at the door early. "Fry, you've finally arrived. Why only now? Do you know how long I've been waiting? Everything is pretty much settled. What's with your hair color?" "Not bad. I just tried out a new look. I'm nearly starved to death, and I'm so hungry now. Seeing how much weight you've lost, I could guess that even if you hadn't said anything." Lilia, all her life, had never seen Peruan this excited. "Don't you see your own sister?" "No. How could I not notice our princess?" "Never mind. You guys have fun." "How rude of of me. My sister occasionally gets angry with me, but her reasons are always a mystery. I think it's more mysterious that you call your sister a princess in front of others." Then the group talked about what had happened to them since they last saw each other. Peruan also heard about their adventure in the Hispania where they saved Sonia. "After coming to my house, she's been practicing swordsmanship like mad. After all, she is a very hard-working person, otherwise she wouldn't have been given the title of Rainstorm at such a young age. However, unlike before, Sonia no longer hides the scars on her arms. I think it's your good fortune that she's marrying you. What are we going to do now?" According to the customs of the June family, guests should first visit the head of the family. "Let me introduce you to my father." Before long, Fry and Isabel found themselves sitting in the hall with all the members of the June family. This should have been the June family's tea time, but at Peruan's invitation, they were sitting at the dining table instead. "Hello, how is your father, Count Blake, doing?" Isabel felt a strong sense of oppression, while Fry was oblivious. "My father is doing well." Actually, since Fry had been in this body, he had not seen his own father. The head of the June family, Shepherd June, is one of the Empire's 5 7-star mages and also the master of the 4th magic tower. Fry guessed he might have clues about demigod. The 6th magic tower is really too far away. Apart from the annual magic tower meeting, it's hard for me to see the count. Suddenly I miss the days I spent with him. That really is a pity. The tattoos on Shepherd's face are Schweizer's magic guide tattoos, so Fry deduced that he must know some insider information. "It seems that besides our family's Peruan, his fiancée also owes you a favor. For this, I want to express my thanks." "You flatter me, but why did you go to the Hell Mountains at that time?" "I had some personal matters to resolve." "Personal matters?" "Because it's a trivial matter. It's not worth mentioning. You really are interesting." "Peruan, how are the preparations for tonight's banquet?" "They are still in progress. This banquet will have many distinguished guests. Consider it as a form of training. You can supervise personally. I will follow my father's instructions and will not disappoint you." "Fry, you join me as well. By the way, Fry, I've been working on a new spell recently. I'd really like to hear your thoughts." Peruan was curious why his father, a 7-star mage, would want to hear a student's opinion. "You don't need to be so formal. I need a fresh perspective and inspiration, so I want to hear the opinions of a young mage." But Fry clearly knew that Shepherd had other intentions. Peruan didn't notice, so he just left. "Isabel, could you go help Peruan for me?" With that, only Fry and Shepherd remained in the hall. "Fry Blake, it's time you stated your purpose. Tell me, what exactly are you scheming?" At that moment, Fry was taken aback. He didn't know where he had slipped up. "I want to know why someone from the Trauman Rings would come to my home." Fry quickly realized that he hadn't exposed anything. "Have you misunderstood something? Using Peruan is a clever scheme. Did you find out through Peruan that I would be at the estate during this time? But you're very bold, appearing here wearing that, the typhoon earring. Why would you dare bring that thing to meet me?" But Fry remembered the Trauman Rings, which was a club Peruan had established at the academy. "I don't know why the Duke would say such a thing to me. These earrings are spoils of war I found in the Hispania." "So you're not a member of the Trauman Rings?" "Although Peruan proposed it to me, I declined because I don't like joining any organizations." At that moment, Shepherd's expression clearly changed, but he quickly calmed down, realizing he was being too sensitive. "So it seems, you're just a free spirit. It appears I misunderstood. You don't need to be wary of me anymore. If the Duke says so, then I will follow your advice. You really are reckless. What do you think this place is?" "Obviously, it's a friend's home." At those words, Shepherd's pupils sharply contracted. "I just came to see my friend, that's all. I'm sorry, but I didn't plan to meet you. Although I still can't fully trust you, I'm willing to change my opinion of you. However, I still hope you can clarify your position. Since you brought that earring, I can't conclude that you have no connection with them. Who do you think is the real master of this continent?" "The strongest in the human kingdoms should be the Castka Empire, but even so, they only occupy 1/10 of the continent." "That is true. One could easily name more than 10 races living on the Urna continent, and among them, human power is at most in the top 3. Just by this, it's hard to say that humans are the masters of the continent." Fry actually knew who the real masters were, but he couldn't just tell Shepherd outright. "The real masters are someone else. Those guys are the demigod. They are the true masters of the continent." At that moment, a shock ran through Frey's heart. Demigod are like demigods, transcending humanity, the real puppeteers behind human society. Though it might sound like a conspiracy theory to the young, the world indeed has invisible hands at work. Shepherd couldn't understand how Fry could still smile after knowing this news. Originally, 4,000 years ago, only 5 people desperately fought against the demigod. Fry thought that today's world had already lost its so-called order, becoming a world of only despair and ignorance, but he hadn't expected that there were still people with the same will as theirs, continuously growing the resistance forces. Knowing well about the existence of the demigod, these people still chose not to submit. They hid in various parts of the continent, preparing for an opportunity to strike back. How could Fry not smile upon hearing such news? For the first time, he saw a glimmer of hope. "Do you know about the demigod?" "I know a little." "How did you know?" Fry quickly calmed down from his initial excitement, as he still couldn't reveal everything. "I saw Schweitzer's memories before I got the earrings." "Schweitzer's diary? Are you serious?" Fry did not elaborate further, simply nodding silently. Shepherd immediately realized that Fry wanted him to offer information first. "Actually, we don't don't know much about demigod either. We don't know how many of them there are, their real purpose, or why they choose to stay hidden. But we can be sure of one thing. They are so powerful that a single decision from them could easily annihilate all races. Hearing this information, Fry knew these people at least grasped the most crucial fact. There are only about 100 or so demigod, but each one is a force of destruction. About 4,000 years ago, 5 heroes fought against demigod. You must have heard their names. They were once household heroes: Great Sage Schweitzer, Mage Warrior Cassigen, Blade King Lucid, Black Witch Iris Founder, and Great Mage Lucas Trauman. But after the Great Mage disappeared, all of history changed. Conflicts arose between the Mage Warrior and the Blade King, and the Black Witch also vanished suddenly. Although the Great Sage continued to fight alone, he couldn't confront demigod by himself. Just like that, their names were erased from history. This matches exactly what's written in Schweitzer diary, and since this is a history not recorded in the books, Shepard's information is trustworthy. Our organization carries on their will, though it's split into several factions now. Over time, the originally unified will has disintegrated. We're now at a point where we restrain and watch each other cautiously. Although we're divided into many organizations, the strongest now are the Stro necklaces, Founder armlets, and Lucid swords. I'm not too familiar with the smaller groups, but the Trauman rings seems to be struggling. After their chairman died, half of the officers seem to have joined other groups. As for Cassigen's Warrior King, it's a system that passes to only one person, and we haven't found his successor yet. What about that organization in the West Road Academy? That's just something the students put together casually. Though we occasionally discover talented individuals there, those students have no idea about the 3 major organizations. From our perspective, this isn't a bad thing as it lowers the chances of us being discovered, and since no one knows where demigod's agents are hiding, I was very wary of you, especially since you were flaunting Lucas's relic everywhere. So I thought maybe a proud member of the Trauman rings had come to declare war on me. That's all I can tell you. Now it's your turn to tell me, how exactly did you come by that item? You just said you got it in the Hispania Mountains, right? I've heard that there are indeed relics of the heroes there, but not many return alive from that place, and most come back empty-handed. After all, most people don't know the location of the dungeon, and even if they do, Torkunda is waiting there for them. Because I was particularly lucky. After encountering danger, I somehow ended up in a place where I found Schweitzer's dungeon. Did you also find Schweitzer's diary there? Yes, the content in the diary matches almost exactly what you've told me. Tell me how to get there. I stumbled upon it by chance. So sorry. I can't give you precise directions. I see. Well then, but honestly, I still have some doubts about you. If possible, could you use the Typhoon Earring? Fry did not refuse and immediately used the power of the Typhoon Earring. How about now? Can you stop doubting me? That's great. It seems things aren't as bad as I imagined. I doubted you not because I mistook you for a member of the Trauman rings, but for a bigger reason. This was a noble's banquet, where everything was done in utmost luxury. The people in the room were busy networking, trying to pave their future by making connections with other nobles. But Fry felt out of place amidst it all. He was worried about the future of humanity. Even though he had found people aware of the existence of demigod, the situation had become even more complicated. While those organizations carried on their will, they had now split into multiple factions. Fry needed to not only understand their current situation deeply, but also stabilize the hidden power of the frozen river and find the right person to craft Schweitzer's golem Anastasia. The ensuing troubles gave Fry a headache. He realized that acquiring this body was not just a coincidence. Just then, Isabel noticed Fry in the corner. Shouldn't you be happy today? Why the gloomy face? How about this dress? Lady Lilia prepared it especially for me. I envy you, not having to worry about so many things. Fry was still puzzling over why Shepard harbored suspicions about him. A month ago, at the Magic Tower meeting, Shepard heard that someone had made contact with demigod. Fry was thrilled to learn this news and was eager to find out who this person was. Although Shepard didn't answer directly, his gaze said it all. The person was Isaka Blake, Frey's father. Meanwhile, Guspar was busy paving his future. With his exquisite eloquence, he had won the hearts of many young nobles. After achieving his goals, he began to enjoy the banquet, gradually shifting his attention to the young noble ladies. At that moment, he spotted Fry and Isabel in the corner. So you are here, said the newcomer, Peruan's fiancée, Sonia. How have you been these days? Pretty good. Isabel, how about you? At that moment, Sonia noticed that Fry was staring intently at her. Isabel, look, this is what I call dressing well. Why must you always target me? My judgment is quite objective. I hope you can explain what you mean by objective judgment. After Fry and Isabel finished their argument, Fry finally turned back to ask Sonia if she needed something. By then, Sonia's face was already red, and she was stammering. Isabel immediately realized what was happening, but Fry was completely oblivious, thinking Sonia was stuttering because she was thirsty. My goodness, isn't that Fry Blake, the third son of the Blake family? I never expected to meet you in a place like this. Do you know him? I'm not quite sure. Fry strained to recall any memories of Guspar. It's like the sun rising from the west to see someone abandoned by the Blake family here. Hearing this, Fry immediately understood there was no need to recall any further. The person before him was definitely a scoundrel. It seems even a waste like you can attend Lord Peruan's banquet on the prestige of the Blake family. After all, as a low local noble. He had paid a significant price to attend a banquet of this caliber. He couldn't help but feel jealous. How could a waste like you get into West Road Academy, a place I couldn't even pass the entrance exam for? I won't say it a second time. Get lost. As a guest personally invited by the host, Fry encountered harassment from an old acquaintance at the banquet. But Gaspar did not realize that the Fry before him was no longer the person he remembered. Do you know Fry? Of course I know him. This guy never dared to be so bold in front of me before. It was only then that Gaspar realized something was off with Fry. He was supposed to be notorious as a failure, but now there were two breathtakingly beautiful girls by Frey's side. Although he had heard that Peruan's banquet was full of beauties, these two were outstanding. He couldn't understand why such beauties would be with Fry. Considering Frey's recent attitude towards him, Gaspar thought Fry was just trying to maintain an image in front of the ladies. What's wrong, Gaspar? Are you encountering some trouble? It's Lord Patrick. Why would you have time to come over here? Patrick ignored him completely, walking straight past Gaspar. I am the eldest son of the Diersty family, Patrick. Could this beautiful lady tell me her name? Gaspar then realized that Patrick wasn't there to help him, but was interested in the two beautiful women. There's no need for such formality. I'm Sonia Aquareed. The moment he heard the name, Gaspar thought he understood everything. Sonia was from another country, so she likely didn't know what a failure Fry was. However, if he couldn't have what he wanted, Gaspar wouldn't let others have it easily either. You must be the eldest daughter of the Aquareed family, known as Rainstorm? I am sorry, I didn't recognize you as Lord Peruan's fiancée just now. However, upon hearing this, Sonia immediately looked towards Fry. Actually, I am not engaged to him yet. Why are you telling me this? As the host's fiancée, your hospitality is admirable. However, Fry Blake is not worthy of your esteem, Lady Sonia. So you are the famous Fry? I know a few of your brothers, Lords Miskell and Hines, who are magicians at the Magic Tower, right? I heard Lord Miskell recently became a master of a tower floor. Why are you telling me this? I heard that you were abandoned by Count Isaka. I can understand the Count's feelings. After all, it's hard to believe that someone like you and such excellent people share the same bloodline. Hearing this, Isabel stood up indignantly. That's too much to say. Although I don't know what your capabilities are, sir, everyone here put together does not match a fraction of Frey's efforts. I expect you to apologize for your remarks. Apologize? As the eldest son of the Diersty family, why should I apologize to him? Miss, you must be joking. The person who should apologize is the idiot who brought that boy to this banquet. I really don't know who let him in. At this, the surrounding nobles began to laugh at Fry, but just then, an unexpected person appeared. I'm sorry about that. To everyone's surprise, Peruan stood up at this moment. I'm sorry, but the person who invited Fry is me. What should we do now? It seems things didn't go as you expected. I didn't realize that inviting my own friend to a party required the permission of the Diersty family. Since this is a banquet I'm hosting in my own right, I indeed didn't consider this, right? However, I must say, Fry is a guest I personally invited, and he is more distinguished than anyone present. You don't need to be too nervous. Just enjoy the party. After all, this is my home, and you are all my esteemed guests. Otherwise, you're all dead. Hearing this, the people troubling Fry immediately fled. Although Peruan called them his guests, he made no effort to retain them. It turns out you have such a temper. I'm just learning from you. Are you kidding? I'm a very gentle person. Could you look in the mirror before you say that? I'm too dazzling to dare look in the mirror. Could it be that you changed your style because of hair loss? After Peruan arrived, the others also tactfully walked away. However, Peruan seriously looked at Fry and said, but seriously, you're really strange. With the strength you demonstrated on the Corteso, if everyone knew, they definitely wouldn't say you were abandoned. A man should not boast about his achievements everywhere. I'm curious, what did you talk about with my father? Your father? Ah, he mistook me for a member of the Trauman Rings. Are you finally thinking about joining my organization? How could I? Fry recalled what Shepard had said earlier. Shepard's suspicion of him was dispelled because someone vouched for his identity. Fry was curious, since even using the Typhoon earring couldn't fully eliminate Shepard's doubts. Who exactly had vouched for him? It was Hines Blake. Like me, he is a member of the Stroh Necklaces, which is your second brother. Fry was slightly stunned. I know what your family has done to you, and the pain in your heart can't be easily soothed. Although I have no right to comment on your family matters, I still want to say that Hines is different from them. He agreed to have you ousted for another reason. I hope you can understand that. After a moment of silence, Fry spoke. Peruan, I don't plan to go back to West Road Academy anymore. Isabel was taken aback, stunned by Frey's words. Is that really true? Since I no longer have a reason to stay there. Isabel had completely forgotten about Sonia next to her, staring blankly at Fry. If Fry did not return to West Road Academy, it meant she would soon be alone again. What are your plans for the future? I don't know. The Duke seemed to suggest I go to the third Magic Tower, which wouldn't be too bad. Unable to control her emotions any longer, Isabel bid Sonia farewell for now. However, by nightfall, she found herself irresistibly drawn to Frey's room. If what Fry said was true, they would be parting ways tomorrow. Although she had known this day would come since learning Frey's true identity, Isabel now realized that she had no idea how to continue on her own. Unable to accept the reality of parting ways with Fry, Isabel found herself alone in his room at midnight. Unexpectedly, someone had arrived before her. Are you leaving tomorrow? Peruan's voice came from from inside the room. Yes, thank you for your hospitality. The banquet was really nice. Perun truly lives up to his reputation as the most talented member of the June family. A genius, indeed. The first time I felt magic was when I was 5 years old. Are you bragging about yourself? Of course not, but sensing magic at 5 is indeed an extraordinary thing. Even Schweitzer and I felt magic for the first time when we were 7, and I reached the rank of a 4-star mage at 17, though publicly we claim it was at 20. Why do you do that? Why hide your own talent? Because it's you. I'll tell the truth. I feel like my talent is a curse. Fry didn't understand why Perun would think that, but from his expression, it was clear Perun was not joking. I once had a teacher who was a 6-star mage and the deputy master of the 5th magic tower. He had a full beard and was a very learned elder. Every time I asked him a question, he would stroke my head and answer gently. Those moments made me very happy, so I worked even harder to come up with more questions. He taught me magic and guided me to success. However, that incident happened shortly after I reached the 4-star mage level. One day, I asked him a question he couldn't answer. He immediately panicked, furiously yelling, calling me a monster. But thinking back, his expression was clearly one of fear. When my teacher saw me advancing rapidly at such a young age, he was already afraid of me, considering me a bad omen. From then on, I lost my guide in the study of magic. Although I still love magic, every time I come to a critical moment, about to break through that barrier, I always remember my teacher's fearful face. So, I curse my talent thousands of times a day in my heart. Sometimes, I even think it would be better to be ordinary, then I wouldn't have any worries when studying magic. Maybe then I wouldn't be seen as a monster by my teacher. You're being melodramatic, aren't you? Listen well. Those called prodigies, possessing talents that most could never achieve in a lifetime, are the true peak of magical study. And you, meeting a guide who was not up to the task and shrinking back at his jealousy, will never reach that legendary realm. I can assure you, next time we meet, I will be many times stronger than I am now. Are you being confident or arrogant? What I mean is, you should do the same. You know about demigod, right? They control all creatures including humans and have changed the original order of this world. Humans, oblivious to their subjugation, are quite foolish, but choosing to never give up, determined to defeat them and save the world again, shows the infinite potential of humans. Only humans can accomplish this. If you just want a carefree life in the magic tower, you're already capable of that. But if you want to defeat demigod, you must strive for the ultimate in magic. I will definitely choose the latter. What about you, Perun? Tell me your choice. Do I even have a choice? It seems not only teachers can be guides. Competing with rivals and forging my own path, that's the idea, right? Fry didn't respond to Perun directly, but that didn't mean Perun misunderstood. At that moment, Fry was just reminded of Schweitzer. He and Schweitzer had also had such a relationship. They were the best of friends, but also the greatest rivals in the study of magic. I will always be one step ahead of you, so don't worry. Fry, when we meet again, I'm sure I'll be ahead. That's why you're worthy of being my friend. Unbeknownst to them, Isabel had been hiding outside the door listening to their conversation, and by now, she was crying. She seemed to have found her own path as well. The next morning, Fry packed his bags ready to head to the magic tower. Aren't you going to take your burden with you anymore? Isabel approached, carrying her luggage. A burden? I've never thought of you as one. You always say I'm a burden, don't you? What about the academy if you come with me? I applied to the academy to seek the ultimate in magic, but now, standing before me is a powerful mage. Who could be a better teacher for me than you? The path ahead will be thorny. You will regret it. I don't want to say this again. Even if the road ahead is hell, I still want to go with you. Fry didn't say much, as he had learned to trust the people around him. The scene changes to the 6th magic tower. Did you say Fry has been getting close to Perun recently? Yes, Master Miskell. Their relationship seems very close, and Perun even loudly declared Fry as his guest. Is that all you came here to tell me? I just thought I should inform the master of the tower. What do Frey's dealings with others have to do with me? He's no longer a member of the Blake family, and certainly not my brother anymore. After Patrick left, the room fell silent again. Perun actually made Fry a guest. Does that mean even a salted fish can turn over? Heinz, what do you think of this? I'm not interested. After all, they're classmates. It's not strange for them to have a good relationship. I knew you would say that. Miskell hesitates whether to inform his father of this information, thinking perhaps he could still make use of Fry in the future. After Miskell leaves, Heinz immediately changes his expression. He no longer looks indifferent, his eyes revealing a hint of worry.